wilderness of blue hedgehogs, Italian plumbers, and nidos. There is a place where those that are persecuted can find solace and lulls, where like-minded geeks can join forces and together grow stronger, as together they can wield unimaginary power, invade enemy lines, and loot bosses. Together, they are Epic Geeks.
Welcome to the Epic Geeks podcast. This is episode number 18 for Saturday the 13th of September 2014. Had to do that date change on the hoof there. Today on the show, Destiny. The iPhone 6 compares to consoles, ? And GTA 5 announced. Does anybody really care? A few controversial things in there, I think. I am your host, Geekas, and we are back. I apologise for the disruptions to the podcast lately. We will discuss that in a minute. And today with me, I have some amazing co-hosts, as ever. Firstly, we're going to go over to the wonderful, the lovely Thomas McIlroy. Hello, Tom.
It's me. I'm doing great, thank you.
I went to you first. It sounds so surprised.
I'm so thankful. No, I don't usually go first, do I? I'm at the back. I just kind of drag along.
And you've moved, I understand.
Yes.
You're in a different part of the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm in the lovely city of Leeds right now. Ooh. So, a bit of a shift for me, being a sort of South Essex boy that I am. Aww. But still in England, which means I guess I'll still be part of the UK this time next week, which is all good.
You will be. Some people might not be. We're not going to get into politics. But I'm glad the move went all right.
Yeah, it's gone very well, thank you.
Lovely. And also with us, again, we have... I've got to think of a word to describe this person, because I came up with your lovely one. I can't. There's no word to describe him, actually. He's undescribable.
Crazy.
It's just Sparky.
Sparky. Wow. Best intro I've ever had. Thank you so much.
I tried to
just
pick you up.
Sparky.
Didn't work.
You know, you run of the mill.
Yeah.
Average Joe.
Everybody knows you now, though, Sparky. So I don't need
really?
to pick you up. It's just Sparky.
Just Sparky.
Just Sparky.
The one and only.
How are you?
You do this more than we do, I think.
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. Set up the new studio. People watching on the video cams probably see some stripy phone behind me, and it's all over the back wall behind the camera as well. It's like, I'm so chuffed about it. I spent a whole day just gluing it all up, and it sounds amazing now. I've got a proper little home studio, so...
You're getting all professional on this.
I know. I should probably start streaming sometime soon now.
Yeah, maybe you should. Yeah.
Maybe.
You've still got your whiskey in the background though, I noticed.
Yeah, can't get rid of that. I actually dropped it. I dropped the bottle and the top smashed, and it almost all came flowing out, but luckily it smashed above the cork.
Yeah, that's what he tells people.
So you had to drink
golden liquid.
Just before this show, you drank it all.
Drinking whiskey whilst in a room filled full of glue fumes.
Glue fumes and whiskey. Yeah. That's a dangerous combination, right
that
there.
Is, yeah. I'd probably end up drinking the glue. Yeah.
Jeez. Please don't.
That can't be nice, can it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you, Dre?
I'm fine, thank you. I am fine now. I've had a hectic couple of months really. People who are regular listeners might have noticed there's been some disruption to the podcast, this one and the Geeks of Nexus podcast. I do apologise. We're not pod fading. We're still here. See, I can wave and everything. We are here, and we will be back to our normal once every 2 weeks. I'll explain. It was mainly my fault. No, it was my fault. It was completely my fault. And then it was partly Tom's fault for moving. And then it was...
Yeah.
Mostly Tom's fault.
Mostly Tom's fault. I'm just going to blame Tom.
Just you at the time.
It was all my fault, but I'm going to blame Tom. I've had some exams at work, which I have mentioned before on the podcast, and it all got a little bit crazy. Some other things happened. My horse got a bad foot, to the point that I thought he'd broken his leg. He couldn't walk on it. I had to call the vet out twice, and I was like, "What is this?" I was up there nearly like all day, every day, and I've had My Little Pony for 21 years since he was born, so I was really panicking.
I mean, if your horse has feet, then you should call the vet. Yes. I mean, because hooves are much more healthy these days.
Sometimes, I have to like talk in plain English to people who don't understand these things. He had an abscess in his hoof, basically, which is really painful, apparently, and I've just been having to play doctor for a while. It's taken up a lot of my time. And then my dad went to hospital as well, which I won't go into in the podcast, but there's obviously because of that it's caused issues. And then I was trying to revise, and I didn't have any time to revise because of all that, so now I was panicking and stressful about my exam. But in the end it all turned out fine. The horse is better, the exam's done and out of the way, and I passed. I got 95% in my last one and like 4% in the other one.
Nerd. This is a podcast called Epic Geeks, Tom.
See?
Nerds.
See? It just proves I am a geek because I decided that I needed to revise. You see? It just proves my geekiness. So, yeah. Yay, go me. So now I'm hoping that everything's going to calm down a little bit and I can start having a life again. That would be quite nice, which involves doing a podcast. So that's that, really. Oh, other than that, I'm fine. I'm not stressed at all.
No. It sounds like a perfectly normal week.
Yeah.
Or few
months. So what have we been playing then? In fact, let's play a little sound clip. I have one somewhere. This one.
Epic Geeks presents It's Time to Play.
I'm going to go to you first, Sparky. What have you been playing over the last few weeks?
Oh my god. We'll probably cover this in the Geeks of Nexus podcast, but I'm going to go into it now briefly whilst I can. Wildstar, I hit level 50, finally.
At last, only about 3 months late.
I know. I took my time, but I'm there now, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I had to, I'm going to go into a bit of depth, hope you don't mind, but I don't know if you had this issue, Kim, but did you, when you finished all of the quests, you progressed through all of the zones, and you got through the main storyline, were you 50 by the end of it?
No, there was still lots to do. And because you have to get to your rep up with your faction, you pretty much have to go back and do a lot of them anyway.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I finished all the quests in the last zone, and I was only level 48.
Oh, you had the opposite then. No, I finished with maybe it's because I did lots of
You did get to 50?
Yeah, I got to level 50 and I had loads of quests still to do.
Oh, right, I see what you mean. No, I finished all of the quests, all of the content I could do, all the leveling up stuff, and I wasn't 50. I was 48. Just over 48, almost 2 whole levels to go. And I just had to grind it out through Battlegrounds. And that's why the last 2 levels took me forever.
Does that mean you already had your faction, rep?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked at reps. I haven't, I hit 50, sort of went into the city and picked up the starting quest to get attuned to the first raid, then called it quits.
You probably missed loads of stuff somewhere along the line. There's probably loads of content that you haven't done yet.
I probably missed a whole zone or something.
Oh well.
Either you did something wrong or the developers did something wrong, and if they haven't made enough content for level cap.
It's the first time I've heard that. That's a bit weird.
Wow.
Oh,
well, I did some Google searching, and quite a lot of other people have had the same issue. And I think it's because we were leveling a couple zones ahead of ourselves to get more XP. So I sacrificed loads of time at the end of my leveling because I ran out of stuff just to have the middle chunk quicker.
It's a tortoise in the hare scenario, isn't it?
It is,
really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I was the hare, and it sucked. Jesus.
Tortoise got there first.
Yeah.
Is it just Wildstar you've been playing this week?
Oh no, sorry, other stuff as well. I will continue talking. This is a podcast just for me. I've been playing some League. Almost got to Gold 2. I know, I'm such a scrub. Crap. But still stuck in Gold 3. Been playing some WoW, just logging on, sort of checking out what's going on, if there's any new stuff that I'm missing. There isn't. So I log on and briefly mill around and then log out again. And that's pretty much it. I haven't managed to delve into any of the big console releases that we're about to talk about.
There's You're a PC
And we're done
gamer.
now.
You don't do
I'm a
consoles.
PC gamer, yeah. PC
console
Master
gamer.
Race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've been playing some KSP as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I landed on Eve's moon.
Congrats again.
Thanks.
You should be done. Say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait.
No.
Yeah, I'm done.
Right. Someone hit him. I can't throw anything at him because he's in a different
I wouldn't
place.
throw anything around your studio. It won't help.
I'll just hit the dog. No, I don't need the dog.
Exactly. And if you disappear, yeah.
And
Wow.
everything does because I'm recording. I hope somewhere.
This is a train
We haven't done this in a while.
podcast already. Yeah.
Tom.
Yes.
Go on then.
This is. I'm going to do mine quick because there's not much to say. To explain, people who have watched or listened to Geeks of Azeroth, which is the World of Warcraft podcast, might have realised that I wasn't on the last show, and there was a bit of hoo-ha over the episode the week before.
That's a great word.
Yeah. So, and the main reason was because I moved to this flat and didn't set up my internet in time. So I only got the internet set up literally a few days ago. So
It's a noob mistake, isn't it, really?
yeah, incredibly. I mean, it's a life lesson learned, but when you have no internet and your only contact with the outside world, like, anyone listening, to contact these guys, I had to sit in a Wetherspoons pub till about 9:30 in the evening. So I looked like I was a raging alcoholic, just turning up every night and just sitting at the back with my iPad. And it means that literally no gaming has been done. I went out yesterday and I bought Diablo 3 and Heart of the Swarm, which I've always been promising myself to get. And I thought, well, now my internet's set up, I will go loose. And I'm throwing myself into that. For someone who does a World of Warcraft podcast, Sparky, you've done more WoW than I have in the last 2.5 weeks. I logged on yesterday and got 2 rune stones. I'm still 2 away from that quest, so it's been a disaster gaming-wise. However, I've been playing Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies on my iPad, and thank God I have that, because it's about the only game I've played, to be honest. So,
God,
unless we're going to talk
mobile
about that, I'll move on.
No, there's nothing wrong with mobile gaming. That's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah, well, if
jeez.
you're on an iPhone 6, it turns out it might be amazing.
Yeah, we'll come into that in a bit. I've just got my 5S. That's been doing me quite well, thank you very much. I've pretty much just been playing Godus for the whole time. Remember I spoke to you about that in the last podcast, I brought it up. Great little mobile game.
Oh, yes.
You must remember. Where you play God and you get to smite people.
Oh, yeah, and you're an evil person.
Yeah, I destroyed the other village. They're gone. They don't exist. They've joined me, and I've expanded into their village, so I've just taken over.
The survivors.
They don't exist, but they've joined you. What's joined you? What's left?
The survivors joined me. Their village no longer exists. There's no one left in their village. Their people are no more. I've consumed them with my own villages. I know.
Wow.
I know. See, that's it. This is what happens when I haven't got time to play a PC or console game. I get let loose on a mobile game that allows me to play God, and then my frustrations get taken out on these poor little innocent people that don't really exist.
Still, I didn't stop you destroying them, did it?
My people are very happy though. They're loving it. They're having a great time. Producing lots of mining stuff and wheat for me. It's great. Well, having said that, I did, which moves us nicely into our new topic. I did go out and buy Destiny.
Oh, tell us.
The day before it was released, and I played because my exam was out the way and everything. That was my little treat. I played it pretty much non-stop for the next few days, and it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed myself. I'm still enjoying myself. However, I am a tad disappointed, as I know I'm not the only person. I didn't play the beta or the alpha, as you know. I've gone away from that. I don't tend to do that with games anymore. I don't like to ruin the experience. I like the excitement of getting this little game wrapped up, and I bring it home and I put it in the console and I play it and see how it goes. So I didn't know anything about it apart from the trailers and what we've read and spoken about in the podcast, and I went for it. And I started playing, I thought, this is quite good. I played a warlock, started a little warlock character, went through the little sort of tutorial and started my character off. Got to the tower, which is like your little hub that you go to buy stuff and things. And as I started going through the levels, the missions, I thought, this is quite familiar. Like, I'm sure I've played a game like this before. I'll describe it to you, alright? And you'll see where I'm going. So, I'm playing a first-person shooter, right? I have a slot where I use an auto rifle or a magnum, for example. I have another slot where I can use a fusion rifle or a sniper rifle or a shotgun, something similar. And I have a grenade type thing, something that works similar to a grenade.
Right.
And although there is another one, you can have like a heavy gun as well, like a machine gun. Right, so there are your options. I've also got something called a ghost, which goes with my character. He's like, looks after me, tells me where to go, tells me what to do. Kind of takes me somewhere and goes, I'll tell you what, we'll go over there, we'll have a look at that computer. If you take me out and attach me to that computer, I will scan it and see what I can find. And it's an AI in my head, pretty much.
Right.
And my character also has a shield, which, goes down when I get shot, and when I kind of go out of the way and don't get shot, my shield recovers.
This is good so far. This is
you like it so far? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm liking the unique concepts. Yeah.
Can you see where I'm going with this, maybe? Just a little bit. Does it remind you of any other game?
No.
No?
No. That sounds great.
I'm just going to point to a poster behind my head that you can't see.
Is it Gears of War?
No.
Oh.
Try again.
Sims 4.
Similar, but no.
No.
You get one more go.
Oh. Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That's it!
Yes!
Just like Roller Coaster.
I know my games.
I can't even say it anymore. No, to be honest, I did sit there thinking, I'm playing Halo.
Yeah.
I am playing Halo. It's like, I've waited so long for this game to come out. And don't get me wrong, there are some great differences. The MMO side of things, having other players running about with you at the same time, I thought that was great. You can go and play with them and this and the other. The multiplayer is fine, but I'm thinking it's the same game, just wrapped up in different, different wrapping paper.
Textures.
Different textures, yes. And there are a few little I know I'm not the only person that's said this, because we'll go into some of the things that Bundy have come out and said over the last sort of few weeks as well. Also, the missions, I found that after I'd done a few of them, they were getting a little bit repetitive. They're broken up into little missions, so you go off and do one mission, and then you go back into orbit, and you can choose either to go back to the tower to buy new gear, whatever, or you can go off and do another mission. But what I found is, if you kind of try to stay with the story, if you like, you'd go down and you'd do a little mission, and then the mission would end, and you'd go back up into your spaceship, and then you go, I'll tell you what, I want to go back and do the next mission. So you go back down, it would tell you to go back to where you'd just been, go past the bit you'd just done, and continue going down the same place to get to the next bit. And I'm thinking, well, I could have just stayed here and carried on. Why do I have to go back up? And the load times are atrocious, I'll be honest. And it's not, I'm playing it on a 360, I've heard other people say the same thing. So I haven't really said many positive things. It is enjoyable, but it's not, like, considering the hype and how much I was looking forward to it, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, so Kim's overview, it's a good game, I've had fun, but everything about it is kind of poor.
Yes, apart from the fact it's like Halo. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the other elements in it, like obviously you're playing classes this time, so So although you could compare your Guardian to a Spartan, because it pretty much is the same thing, you've got the class elements to it as well, which brings a little bit of variety. So you've got like a hunter class, pretty much, a warrior class, and a warlock. And I was playing the warlock. And you do have kind of like sub-trees and things that go down, which make your character a bit more diverse as you go through the game. So I think that's going to bring a little bit more to it and make it slightly different. But I think I was expecting a little bit more out of the box. I think that was what I was thinking. Now, I know neither of you two have played, but I know, Tom, you've watched a little bit on Twitch and you've been reading up some reviews. So what are your thoughts on Destiny?
Well, I guess I'll start with just covering how the Metro reviewed it. Now, maybe Metro's not the first point many people turn to, but
Metro. Yeah.
Well, they I think it's a pretty good summary. The article, their review basically sums up in short: it's not short of spectacle, but in terms of innovation and variety, this is nowhere near as forward-thinking as Bungie would like to pretend. The pros are apparently the gunplay and loot design are expertly crafted to keep you playing, fantastic art design and music with some stunning visuals, mountains of content and great co-op. The cons: repetitive enemies, non-existent set pieces and terrible bosses, no new ideas and overly simplistic role-playing and customization elements, almost zero plot. So
the storyline is limited, I'll give it that.
To share this, we talked before the show about the natural comparisons that are being made to Halo. Now, it seems Bungie's come out since and said, don't compare it too much, but we'll go into that in a second. I want to draw people's attention. If you go into Google, get up a picture of the Destiny logo, as it were, and then look up a Halo 4 poster, you get the same sort of image of a world, something above it. You've got the marketing is just very similar. You look at is it the Traveller is the name of the character?
Yep.
You've got Traveller, you've got Reclaimer. Everyone calls Master Chief the Reclaimer, and you just sit there and
the ghost is Cortana.
The ghost AI is Cortana. It's just Peter Dinklage's voice. you have to sit here and just accept that Bungie, you were incredibly unimaginative. You thought, what? We've sold the franchise. Let's make a brand new game, and you've come up with exactly the same game you had a license to. And I don't understand why you did it. I see why you were trying to be a bit MMO-y, but you were only a bit. It's only a bit MMO-y. Yeah. Like, I'm watching this on Twitch. I'm not seeing like the 40 versus 40 thing that was being talked about, and it was being sold as this massive experience where people just jumping into your game and helping you fight bosses and things like that. It's not that at all. It's just it's Spartan Ops. That's all it is. It's just another version of Spartan Ops. You go around, complete your missions and things like that. And obviously my opinions, not to be counted as much because I haven't played it myself, but it's nothing is making me want to buy this at all. And I honestly believe more innovation has gone into the Master Chief collection because at least they've thought about it and what works and what doesn't work. Saying that, Destiny obviously has good gameplay and people are enjoying it, and that's absolutely fine. But for people to sit there and when they did E3 and say this is going to be the best the flagship Xbox game. PS4 were vying for it and talking about it as well and things like that. It's just it hasn't.
The thing that surprised me about it is when we've spoken about it in previous podcasts, everyone was going, there's a lot of people getting really angry about it who played in the beta and alpha, saying, you guys stop comparing it to Halo, it's not Halo, it's a completely different game. So I was expecting to have a completely different game, and I was thinking, no, it is Halo. And that is very, very disappointing to me. But going back to the loot system, that it is very good. If anything's going to make you want to play, I mean, you go along. It's pretty much like Diablo. You go around and you pick up loads of loot. Like, you're constantly getting loot, constantly getting new things, and you can carry. Difference to Halo. In Halo, you can only carry your main weapon and your secondary weapon at the same time. You can't carry more than one. Yeah, so you always have to drop it and pick something else up. Well, in Destiny, you can have, I can't remember how many slots there are, but I think it's about 5, possibly. So you can have a different gun for each different occasion, which is amazing. So you come up against a certain boss that you need a certain weapon for, you just go in, select it, and bam, there you go.
Yeah, that's a positive. Slightly, but the thing is, Halo was an FPS, a multiplayer FPS, and so 2 guns make sense for balancing reasons. You can't walk around with 100.
Why not? I like 100 guns. Give me
It'll
more
be
guns. Give me loot.
a bit OP as soon as someone figures out a good way to switch between them all. But for an MMO, yeah, of course you need loads of different weapons and to be able to carry loads of items, because that's the point of an MMO. You're supposed to be kind of grindy, kind of collecting, sort of hoarding everything you can and boosting yourself up and becoming a better sort of all-round individual and a player. Like if Destiny released as an MMO-esque sort of collection game and you were only allowed 2 items, then I'd go ask for my money back. I don't think it's a good positive to say like, hey, this flagship.
Come up with something that's positive.
Idea.
Don't turn the positive into
It should be the
negative.
basics, though. It should be the basics. If it's not there, then that would be awful. It's not a good thing that it is there. You should expect it to be there in the first place.
I think they missed out on a trick, and what I think they should have done. This is my opinion. Not that I've made some multi-million-pound game. I mean, they sold enough copies for me not to really care about my opinion. But I think they shouldn't have made it an FPS. I think. This is my sort of. You've got the 3 classes. I think they should have just gone all out and done 3 different classes with a similar game, but have a warlock class, your hunter class, and your warrior class. 3 completely different ways of playing, as opposed to just going around pretty much doing the same thing, just with different abilities.
Right. Yeah. You want the classes to be sort of a lot more defined.
Yeah.
And differentiated. Yeah, I totally agree. From what I've heard, sort of halfway into the game, there still isn't much differentiation between classes, and that when you go on, soon you'll be able to unlock. God, I can't remember the right name for it because I haven't played it myself.
They're like subclasses.
It's like sub something, yeah. There was a word for it, sub something, but yeah, it's a bit like a talent tree almost.
It's like a tree, it's a tree.
Yeah, you sort of differentiate yourself through that, and hopefully that'll be enough.
But you're still shooting with a gun.
Yeah.
And I know people like shooting with guns, don't get me wrong, but I'm just thinking out loud, if you were going to make this game different, then that's how I would have gone about doing it.
You mean sort of making guns just a really class-specific thing, like have, say, a marksman?
Yeah.
If you're playing
the hunter type class, then you had a gun.
Yeah.
If you're playing a warlock, you don't need a gun, you're a warlock. No?
Yeah. Would you go for the old classic, give them a staff?
Yeah, why not?
Magic wand?
Yeah.
Right.
People love that.
Fair enough.
Bit
How
of
would you make
fantasy.
that futuristic,
There's probably loads of people hating me right now, going, "What the hell are you talking about? We just trying to build a World of Warcraft in space." Yes,
that will buy.
That will work amazingly well.
Come on, Blizz.
I don't know. I don't think they'd need anything if you're a warlock. Just use your magic.
Yeah. No, fair enough. If they did it right, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm still going to play it. I'm still loving it. I'll still enjoy it. But there's just niggles that I didn't. I think it's because it's been so hyped and they've spent so long on it, so much time on it. They've spent so much money on it that I was expecting it to be perfect, and that's why I'm disappointed.
It's a bit like how Titanfall went down in some ways. It was made to be this groundbreaking game experience. And don't get me wrong, Titanfall's a fun game, but it was lackluster in some areas, and effectively it just boiled down to multiplayer experiences. It's one of these games that, unfortunately, what we've seen coming out now is that a lot of the games on the new generation consoles, and perhaps more so with Xbox than PS4, is that there's an over-reliance on the variety in gameplay to be simply coming up from you're playing with other people. That will make it fun. And that's what I don't like. It's like, there's no story, there's no lore, there's nothing like that, but you're playing with other people. That's fun, isn't it? Are you not sociable? But playing with people online is great, but you don't build franchises out of that. And that's the things that make great franchises are the things that novels get written on, and extra lore gets talked about, the sort of stuff where people go onto a wiki page dedicated to that franchise, and that's when you've got a really successful franchise, when people are looking up that information just because they want to know. And maybe Destiny has missed it slightly on this part, but I mean somehow they're still getting like 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10. So
yeah, but it should be 10 out of 10. Everyone was expecting it to be 10 out of 10, weren't they? Really?
Well, that's the thing. I could ramble on it about it for days on end, but it's the media and the player bases are all in game hype these days. It's ridiculous. Pretty much every big title coming out right now is spaced out so well from each other because of the planning from the marketing teams that they all have sufficient time to get ridiculously hyped up through, promotional videos and trailers and sort of unrealistic and, not sort of comparative gameplay. We have gameplay where the graphics, belong on the big screen, and these games hit release, and it's like, oh, wait, so it wasn't gameplay before. It was just a trailer that looks like gameplay, and we were told was gameplay, right? Yeah, but anyway, people need to stop hyping up games. It's like you said, Kim. You're not going into betas or alphas that much anymore, and yeah, that sure is a good way to sort of overcome one of those issues. Yeah.
Well, the things I do, if I'm not sure about a game, I will go and have a look at the betas, and I'll maybe go and have a look at Twitch a bit just to decide whether I am going to play it. But with a game like Destina, I kind of thought I don't need to. I'm going to buy it anyway. So
it was the hype, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it worked because they've sold like $500 million or made $500 million in revenue in the first 24 hours, which is like ridiculous.
I'm wondering just how long the community is going to sort of accept hype, though. Isn't there going to come a boiling point where people decide, actually, this hype is getting a bit excessive now? The majority of games coming out have been largely disappointing, compared to all the praise that was previously given to them. When the hell is the community going to, scrape their feet on the ground and go, hold the hell up,
I blame Blizzard.
Give us some quality material for once.
I think Blizzard started it.
Blizzard started it.
Blizzard started it, and then it's gone on from there. But Bungie have come out, and I'm just thinking about people queuing up for World of Warcraft expansions and stuff. Yeah. They didn't let the community down, did they? They didn't let us down. That's the difference. So Bungie have come out and defended some of the things people have been writing. They've come out. I found this one quite ironic. You put this one in. We put it all in, Tom. You did the show notes this week, Tom. Thank you very much. But you found this one where they've said it was liberating to move on from Halo, which I found quite ironic, considering what we've just been talking about. And then another one they came out and said that people were too quick to compare Destiny's enemies to Halo's Covenant, says Bungie. Now I mentioned this in a message to Tom during the week, but they pretty much have got the Covenant and the Flood in this game. In the Vex and the Fallen, they're the same enemies, so I don't know what they're talking about there. But they have come out as a Destiny developer. Bungie assured fans that Destiny's bad guys are more diverse than Halo's Covenant, and that gamers were too quick to make comparisons between both games. They're trying to say that there are more diverse enemies within the game, but I personally don't see it. Unless when I get on later on, there'll be more. But you pretty much, like, I'm going on thinking I'm just fighting an elite. This is an elite.
Yeah.
And I can kill him in pretty much the same way. And then the bosses are just, I don't know, slightly harder to beat. I just have to try not to get hit and hit them a bit more. And then they're dead. I don't see how they're that much diverse. Anyway, maybe we've gone on for too long about this.
I will add, just before we move on, the quote from Bungie's community manager David Dake, is that we'll never turn a blind eye to the accomplishments that come from the Halo era at Bungie. But as creators, as artists, as people with imaginations for how games can be new and different and exciting, it was pretty liberating, actually, to start with a blank canvas and say, what sort of story do we want to tell now? regardless of whether you agree or disagree with us now, I have to argue, is there any evidence they started with a blank canvas?
No. Not in
Yeah, I
my
was just about to
experience.
say, Bungie shouldn't really blame the community for comparing their game to Halo. It's kind of your responsibility, Bungie, to differentiate your new game from Halo.
Make it different. Make a different game, and people won't compare it.
Guys, stop comparing this exactly similar game to the previously similar game. That's just unreasonable.
Oh well.
Bless them.
The Hive.
Oh, bless their little thugs.
I went in and met the Hive and just basically had this swarm of enemies coming towards me at high speed, which are basically like little zombies. And I thought, oh my god, it's the Flood! Get back! Anyway.
Was it perhaps a little creature that stuck stickies to itself and ran at you screaming?
Ah!
So they've got zombies in there.
Well, they're not really. They remind me of zombies. Yeah, they're pretty much zombies. And some of them are cursed. Yeah, another original idea. Anyway, so we move on. There are probably some really big Destiny fans that are hating us right now. But I know it's not just us. I've listened to other podcasts this week. Scott Johnson, one of them, he agrees with me. I was like, it's not. I thought it was just me. It's not just me. I've read reviews. I'm not alone. So I'm not weird. Alright? Just, yeah.
You're entitled to your opinion, Kim. You bought the game. You're allowed to say what you want.
And I feel like I'm being really negative. I do like the game. It's a good game.
Just all of the parts of it are poor.
It's not poor. It's just not what I expected.
Okay.
That's it. That's all we're saying is it was hyped up, it jumped and didn't quite reach it, and we're all like, oh, never mind. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Maybe
nice
next time.
try, Halo.
Yeah. So let's move on to the news, shall we? Let's go
Yeah.
on to the news.
It's time for gaming news with Epic Geeks.
So, the first one we're going to start off with is, you two love this one, I know it already. iPhone 6 specs are on par with PS4 and Xbox One, says EA exec. Really? Really?
Thank God. So that's why Destiny was released on the iPhone. Yeah.
Exactly. Frank Gibeau, I think that's how you say his name, Gibeau, who manages Electronic Arts' mobile division, told GameIndustry.biz that he believes that the iPhone 6 demonstrates the diminishing performance gap between home consoles and mobiles. So will we see Destiny on the iPhone 6? Go
I really
Sparky
hope so.
with your
I
laughter.
really wanted to. It would be a good chuckle. That would be fantastic, yeah. I'd love to see the controls.
The controls. So the iPhone 6 is a 4.6 inch screen, so slightly different to maybe what you're playing your consoles on right now.
Yeah.
While the largest 6 Plus has a 5.5 inch screen. The corporation didn't detail its device's specs, but the latest rumours suggest it will carry 1 gigabyte of RAM and a processor that runs at 1.4 gigahertz. How does that compare to the console, Sparky?
Well, the Xbox One, sort of lesser behind the PS4 right now, I believe. But the Xbox One itself has an 8 gigabyte GDDR5 octa-core, 1.7.
Did you say 8?
You what?
Did you say 8?
I said 8.
That's
yeah.
a bit more than 1.
It's a bit more than 1. It's about 8 times more than 1.
Yeah.
I just did some quick maths for you there. No worries. We got the 1.7 gigahertz CPU, a GTX 660 equivalent GPU, the 500 gigabyte storage, and a Blu-ray player. So until iPhone can fit that into their case, I think they're a little bit behind.
They can fit a Blu-ray player easily.
Yeah, no worries. Don't get me wrong, 1 gigabyte of RAM and the A8 processor is pretty good for a mobile.
For a phone, that's awesome.
It's good, pretty good. I think the A8 processor is the first sort of chip to use the 25 nanometer building shenanigan things that I don't really understand, but apparently it's really impressive.
Tech stuff.
So yeah, tech stuff, right? So I'm not going to pretend to know much about it, but that's what I've gathered, and that's impressive. That's cool. Nowhere near a console. Not even close.
I see where he's trying to go. They're trying to say, look, we've built this amazing phone. You can have some amazing capabilities. We can have some great games on it. He's just maybe went a little bit far to say it's going to be on par with the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Yeah, he's probably an Apple shareholder.
Little bit too far.
Yeah.
Little bit. Tom, what are your thoughts? Oh, it's gone quiet. We've lost.
You're muted, mate.
Sorry, I muted myself. I was coughing earlier, so I muted myself. I forgot. I'm back. I was saying that I can see what he's getting at. I think the correct response would have been to say that the iPhone 6 has perhaps certainly closed the gap a lot more than we'd expect from a next-gen iPhone, in this case. But, yeah, you'd be lucky to boot up a next-gen game on there. And also, let's be honest, the iPhone 6 Plus, which is the larger version of the two, it's the 5.5-inch screen. You're bordering on a tablet there, which is, makes sense. And to be honest, considering these things are valued about £900 or however many dollars that is, you'd expect to be getting quite a, kick for your money. But they're not designed as gaming functions. If anything, Apple's press conference is about utility, about home life and things like that. That's where the power and utility is. It's about mapping your locations and things like that. Sociable gaming, like how the 3DS works, where you pass people and things like that, that's what the iPhones would be good for. Mm-hmm. This thing, you'd boot up something like Halo and it would just melt. Because the iPhones, they notoriously heat up. You could play a basic game, a game that came out on, say, the 3GS on your iPhone 5S, and you'll after about 30 minutes, you'll think, God, this is getting a bit warm. You're going to melt anything else, and you don't want to be, watching your £900 phone heat up to 70 degrees centigrade, because it's going to be awful. And on top of that, how do you manage, is this talking about, online features or something like that? And also, he's not very clear on what aspects of games for the next gen he's talking about. there are a lot of low budget arcade games, maybe some Steam games, PC games that could work well, but there's not a chance that, considering as well, next gen games, they're at the bottom end of what the consoles what they can do. So there's no way this would stick in a year's time. Definitely not.
It'd be interesting though. It'd be interesting to see where mobile gaming does go when we start getting these more powerful mobile phones.
Definitely. I can't wait to see. I said to you guys in the chat before the show a couple of days ago, how long is it before we start to see mobile games as potential contenders for Game of the Year? Maybe not always going par or toe to toe, maybe having their own category as opposed to going toe to toe with next gen consoles or traditional consoles. But mobile gaming is really going to come into its own, I think, in the next 2 years. Maybe perhaps even start to grow but grow faster than what console gaming is.
An actual head, grow a head.
Grow a head, that'd be iPhone 7 right now.
I think they're never going to really compete, of course, with the huge AA titles, like we're discussing on the new next-gen consoles or, the PCs. But what it could potentially do, in my opinion, is if you could get some sort of decent controls for the iPhone, and I'm not talking just, two digital analog sticks in either corner of the screen. You need some sort of tactile response. I don't know about you guys, but I need a physical controller or some keys to press that either click or I can feel a texture, when they've changed. So if you can get some sort of plug-in, like maybe a little case that you plug it into, and then you've got a nice tactile responsive controller, imagine like a sort of Game Boy, but you sort of plug your iPhone into it.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, something useful like that, but designed really well. Once you get that, and then maybe some nice small indie mobile games that don't focus too much on immersion, I don't think, because you're not going to get immersed in a game on a tiny screen, because it's just not, if I want to be truly immersed in something, I need it to take up my vision and just engulf me in amazing story and amazing graphics and details on a big screen. Just personally.
They did. There has been some big titles that have come out on mobile devices.
Yeah.
Call of Duty for example, did have a version. Might not have been quite the same as the console version, but they did bring out a version. And FIFA have, of course, brought out their mobile version of FIFA as well. You don't look that impressed. You're like,
No, it's not going to work out the same. It's not.
But they can adapt it, can't they? You know, they've adapted those games to be able to be playable on mobile devices.
Yeah, sure. And
Not the same level, but they're there.
And I could take a baseball bat to a Bugatti Veyron and adapt that. You know,
It's so harsh.
it's true. Nice, you know, like for this new iPhone, maybe it can play something like Alone in the Dark quite well. You know, if you had a nice adaptive control, a nice small immersive indie title like that, that would work well on a next-gen mobile. But bigger than that, no.
You're not convinced, are you?
No, hell no.
Tom, are you more optimistic? Because, you know, from what you say on the show notes, you're a bit like, could we see a new generation in mobile gaming and all that kind of stuff? You're a bit more positive about this.
I'm not living up to
I'm
it.
finish on a positive spin because we're playing negative.
It's because I'm unwell. It's because I'm unwell. No, on a serious note, I think yes. I personally think that with the growth of tablet gaming, mobile gaming, I mean, what you just talked about, Sparky, about plugging in, I'm sure, again, really bad of me, I can't quote what it is, but I'm sure I saw that with a Windows tablet or something.
Oh yeah, there's stuff out there that does just that. Yeah, absolutely.
They're really trying to find that, you know, that kind of combination, that hybrid console mobile gaming platform to sort of ease people in. The only thing I will say before I talk about the pros is that the culture of mobile gaming is dominated by free to play, and it winds many people up, and that needs to change. You need to get a more solid market, and the problem is with mobile games, you get what you pay for, and when you're paying $1.99 for a game, you can't expect the sort of content and the sort of immersion, like you say, or the breadth that something like Destiny or Halo you're getting for 40 quid or more, $60. So there needs to be a shift in culture. Developers need to get more funding to try and develop these more. But if they do that, if that change comes, then there's no reason why, you know, there couldn't be, you know, it's the only one I can think of, but like a sort of renaissance in mobile gaming. It can definitely happen. The technology is there. These things are capable of that. That's the only problem with this statement that we're talking about, is that he has suggested it's like something that it's not trying to be like. No one sat down in Apple and said, you know what, we really need something that's on par with an Xbox One. Of course they didn't. No one, you get shot out of the room for that. Especially, it's very hard to play a mobile game when someone's calling you all the time or texting you. And so...
Mum, call me back, I'm trying to shoot something.
Oh, Mum, I'm trying to save my game, or something like that, and you answer the phone by accident. But yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't be. There's so many great innovative games out there, and I think if you can clear the trash, you know, those games you play for about 10 minutes, and you know, those sort of games where you have to wait 6 hours for your energy to refill or something like that, or pay very quickly to speed it up. If you can get rid of those, yeah, there's no reason why mobile gaming couldn't be fantastic on its own, and I'd love to see it. I'd buy into it as much as I would console gaming.
What about if they brought out Grand Theft Auto?
What, like one of the old ones or the new ones?
Well, they've just announced a new one, haven't they?
Oh,
so,
you're segueing.
See, you like that?
The stealth way.
Almost seamlessly, but no one picked up on it. Yes.
Too subtle.
It was a bit too subtle. So, Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS4 and the Xbox arriving on November the 18th. Does anybody care? Says this article here. I don't. Tom, do you care?
I am going to play Devil's Advocate as I usually do.
Yay!
And I'm going to say that people should care. I don't know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to make up on the spot.
People should care. Because I have to argue the point.
And it's very hard because Grand Theft Auto 5 is a game that I didn't complete because I got bored of it. But no, I think on a serious note that Rockstar is in a bit of a difficult situation with GTA 5, mainly because if they want to follow the same pattern of DLC. I know there is DLC out for it already. Excuse me. But if they want to keep developing this game, they can't keep throwing content out onto the old consoles. They need to put it on the new one. That's their side of it. So they need to keep their customer base on the next one and help sell consoles and things like that, do their duty to the consoles. But the reason why players perhaps should be excited is...
It's really hard.
I am trying so hard. Well, on a serious note, I don't know what the price is. If it's a cheaper price, then I could argue this easier, but I don't have the info. But listen, you don't... No, there's no way to argue this.
See, you can't really argue this because you've argued this similar point with Halo before, haven't you? About them basically rehashing a title.
Yeah.
So you can't really go back on this one.
It's new graphics. Why do you need new graphics?
Exactly. You can use your old disc on your new consoles.
Yeah. This is the exact reason I don't like the Master Chief. Yeah. No, I don't
So
like.
you can't play Devil's Advocate. You've already lost that argument. Oh well.
Yeah. I'm just gonna shut up.
Sparky, what do you think about this? Graphics will be better.
The only way I could ever accept it if it was like a download to the Xbox One or the PS4 for like $5. If you've already bought it for like $5, just to get it in, a polished little condition, on your new console, so you can play it with your friends. Because it would be a bit of a pain switching from console to console. Like, they just finished playing Destiny together, and hey, how about we go jump on GTA 5 and crash some helicopters into army bases and die over and over and over and over. It could be a pain just like switching consoles, so it would be cool just to switch games on the new next gen consoles and have a shiny version master at it. But if they're charging full retail price for a brand, as if it was a brand new release, nah, not worth it. Not worth it in the slightest.
I'm presuming they've spent time and money getting it to
absolutely.
On the new consoles, so I guess they have to recoup their...
But at the same time, why didn't they then just sort of push the release dates back a bit and release it on the new next-gen consoles?
Or bring out a new game for the next-gen consoles next year.
Yeah.
GTA 6.
Yeah.
I'll have a
It's
stab.
invested in a weird area.
I'll have a stab at this now. I'll try again.
He's had a thought. He's had a think about it.
I'm looking at a comment from the ZeroReview.com, and they said that like me, perhaps, or maybe us, that we're feeling incredibly burnt out by HD re-releases, and they mentioned The Last of Us and Tomb Raider. Now, Tomb Raider, I feel the same about. I don't know why they're doing like a new cut version, but it does look pretty. But The Last of Us has done very well as a HD remake. A lot of reviewers are saying you should just buy this game now. If you're going to buy a console, buy it with this game now. So clearly there's something, but then that's linked back to the original content. The Last of Us HD remake has done well because people are pointing back and saying this game is amazing, and now it looks even better and it runs better. The problem is I don't know, you can't use those same arguments, because when people are saying The Last of Us has such an engaging story, the characters themselves are so engaging, and
it's a completely different game, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, you can't hold a candle to it in the same way. Like GTA was a good game, don't get me wrong, and I'm not slating the game at all. I'm just finding it very hard to justify why unless it turns out like Sparky says and it's a $5 sale, there's no reason why you're going to want to buy this game again just because it looks pretty. I mean, they talked about new content, but what is it? The GTA franchise follows a very formulaic structure. You can get burnt out on that. At least Last of Us is a very different IP altogether.
Yeah.
I think the HD re-release of Last of Us was successful because the whole point of Last of Us is to have that truly, like I was saying before, immersive experience. You want to get involved in the story, and it's a hell of a lot more easier to get immersed and involved in the story if the surroundings are more believable, right? If the graphics are more up to date. Not saying that a game can't be immersive without good graphics, but it definitely helps.
If they've got new online game modes, maybe. If they throw in some new online game modes, if they've got some extensive DLC, stuff that people won't ever see, like if they won't ever be released on the market, then maybe. I mean, you've got to make this such an exclusive that people will want to buy it, and but it's possible. I could be totally wrong. This game could be released and people could say you've got to buy this game, it's so much fun, it's breathed life into this game. But at the same time, you can't help but feel it's just this, it's typical of the midpoint. There's not many games out for the consoles. Let's just throw a load of remakes out there so people can play the games they didn't yet finish. It's aimed at people like me who said, I'd love to play GTA 5 and I've got an Xbox One. Screw it, I'll spend 40 quid.
Yeah.
It's like Sung Ho over in the chat said he never played GTA 5 on the old consoles, so it's a great way for him to go and get a game that he didn't play before, but the updated version.
That's it.
So that's who it will be good for.
You, sir. It's madam. It's aimed at you. That's one person they've sold it to. But saying that, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just
people are going to buy it.
Yeah, of course.
Don't get me wrong, they're going to buy it, absolutely, but I just completely disagree with it. I strongly disagree with it.
I won't be one of them. So
please don't buy it.
No, I won't be.
You know what I am looking forward to, and it was sort of tagged on to the end of that article, was the release on the PC coming in January 2015. Yes, I am looking forward to that, and I hope people buy that.
You are a PC gamer.
I'm a PC gamer.
Of the PC master race.
I am. I don't even own. Actually, no, that's not true. I own the old Xbox 360, but I'm not planning to buy any of the new next-gen consoles anytime soon. With all the news of the groundbreaking Destiny games.
Moving on. So Sony PS4 have also, they haven't. They've unannounced. There's an unannounced PS4 game still to come this year. A Sony ad reveals. So basically, there was an ad put out by Sony, which is basically advertising. Some weird things happening on my screen. Advertising all the games that have come out, that will be coming out, and there's a little sort of thing on the advert that says more to come this year. So, what are the predictions? What do we think is the game that they still haven't announced that will be coming out in 2014 on the PS4? I am going to go with Beyond Two Souls. That's my guess. I think that will be coming out this year. Go Sparky.
Alright. Well, so they're going to be announcing this at TGS, which, of course, is Tokyo Gaming Show. Yeah, sorry. Don't know the actual name. Something along those lines. They were talking ages ago about thinking of exhibiting their Project Morpheus VR headset, and they weren't sure whether or not they're going to go ahead with it, and word about it kind of trailed off a bit. And what has come out since then is that they absolutely quantifiably denied that The Last Guardian, the game, is not going to be announced. It's not going to be there. They're not bringing it out anytime soon. Still in development, still massively behind. So I think if that's not being confirmed, because that was like everyone's leading guess for what was going to be announced. If that's not going to be there, I bet they're going to show something to do with the Project Morpheus VR headset, especially because it's in Tokyo, because it's a massive electronics sort of revolving culture and sort of hardware and gadgets and gizmos. I bet there's going to be something to do with the VR headset. And that's going to be exciting, because I'm digging the VR stuff recently.
You could be. Well, you like it because you didn't get travel sick playing the game that you played.
Yeah.
So that's always a plus. And you're right, we are holding out for that Project Morpheus, kind of the next announcement on that. So you never
it's long overdue.
Good call. I just thought of something really controversial. Maybe they're going to announce that PS4 are also going to have Halo 5.
You would make such a bigger splash with that.
I know, they'd be making such a big thing.
You'd be teasing about it anything.
It's not just coming out on the Xbox, it's coming out on the PS. No, okay. Get that. That won't happen. Come, Tom.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm trying to look at what else, because it looks like, unless I've missed the point, looks like it's coming out in November? Or is it not? Is it to be announced in November?
I don't know. It just says 2014, doesn't it? And there's not many months left, I guess.
No, it's because the way it's aimed in the poster. So I presume if it's coming out, or say it's coming out November, December, or whatever, the games it's up against is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. You got The Crew, Far Cry 4, Dragon Age Inquisition, Little Big Planet 3, Project Cars, and I'm trying to think of what it could possibly be. What sort of, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I mean, it's, I don't know. I can't say anything more than that. I'm literally bemused.
Well, that's why I went with Beyond Two Souls, because it's the only one I can think of.
Videogamer.com agrees with you, Drakeas.
Mm-hmm.
They think it could be Beyond Two Souls. I don't see a reason why not.
Dum dum dum. I'm gonna put money on it now. I'm gonna go and place my bets. Place your bets now, please. Oh, can you remember that? What was that on? It was on that. Did you ever play that? At an arcade, and you had the little horses in the middle on the little wooden sticks or plastic sticks.
Yeah.
And the guys would go, place your bets now, please, and you'd like press a button, say which horse is gonna win, and then. I'm sorry, I've completely sidetracked.
I just wondered where you were going to go with it.
I don't know where I was going with it either. I just got that was it. Sorry, it was just.
Drive the horses.
What happened was I was talking about betting, then that kind of voice came into my head, and then I kind of transported back into my childhood, and ta-da! That's what happens. That's what came out. I'm sorry. I've had a stressful few weeks. What can I say? This is all coming out now. This is the relaxed me taking over.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit weird. Tom, you snuck these two in like at the last minute. So I haven't really had a chance to kind of read it. So why don't you take the next two bits, Tomb Raider, and the Tokyo Game Show?
Yes. Okay. Well, to put it bluntly, with the next one, there's a sale going on with Steam in relation to Capcom. So they basically, Steam and Green Man Gaming have got sales going on. Steam has a Capcom sale. Green Man Gaming has a Square Enix sale. So there are some games going incredibly cheaply. Now, I did have the website set up, which would have read it out in £sterling, but I've lost them, so I apologise, but I'm just going to read it out in dollars. So just divide it by what you think is appropriate, usually half. You've got Resident Evil 4 HD at $10 on Steam. This is all the Capcom stuff. Resident Evil 5, $10. Remember Me at $6. Devil May Cry, the new version. However, the old ones are available on sale as well. The new version is available for $12.49, which is something like £7, if I'm right.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Chronicles of Mysteria.
Oh, you're already ahead of me. I got confused there. Yeah, you've got everything. You've got literally everything. Devil May Cry 3 is there as well. Lost Planet 3, Bionic Commando Rearmed is there for $2.
Every game.
DuckTales.
Green Man Gaming. Green Man Gaming has Hitman Absolution for $6.49. You got Quantum Conundrum. Murdered Soul Suspect is on for $17.
Wow.
Bear in mind, we were playing that
at Rest.
At Res almost. Oh, it's got about 6 months, something like that, maybe. So that's what, like a tenner. Deus Ex Human Revolution is for $5. That's going to be like £2.50, if that. Tomb Raider, the new one, $7.49. So that's going to be like £3 or £4. Thief is $10.19, and Just Cause 2 is $3.74. That's just some examples, but you can go onto Steam and Green Man Gaming to find out more. So check them out. It ends at the end of the weekend. So grab it while you can.
Get in there quick, people.
Yeah, for
go.
$20, £10, you could steal like 3 amazing games. Might as well.
Haven't been out long either.
Exactly.
And what about
new titles?
Sorry?
Just said relatively new titles.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
What about this Tokyo Game Show then? This is quite intriguing.
Oh right, sorry, yeah, I forgot that was me for a second. Yeah, Tokyo Game Show. We've mentioned it about how Sony plans to announce a new title, or new titles, I guess, at the conference. However, the Tokyo Game Show is taking place on September 18th till the 21st, if I'm right. And there's going to be loads of coverage, all sorts of people are getting involved, and Square Enix is going to be there, Atlas is going to be there, Platinum Games are going to be there, Concept are going to be there, Capcom are going to be there, all sorts of indie new studios are going to be there. So it's, definitely not something to be missed if you're wanting to look ahead. It's not one of these conventions where you're like, oh, nothing interesting will come out. There will be a lot of news coming out of this, mainly because it's a massive market that the big developers are trying to crack, and with relative success. So Sony has a huge presentation and just a presence in general at the Tokyo Game Show. They've got dozens of games on display. They've got Bloodborne, which is going to be there, Earth Defense Force 4.1, Little Big Planet 3 is going to be there. They've got the surprise announcement, whatever that may be. Microsoft is making its Japanese Xbox One debut. However, apparently that's not going too well as it stands at the moment, so we'll see. They've got demos of D4 Dark Dreams, Don't Die, Ori, and The Blind Forest. They've got Halo Master Chief Collection there, and much more. And then you've got Atlas. They've got the teaser for Persona 5. You've got Final Fantasy 15 might be there with Kingdom Hearts 3. Final Fantasy 15, talking about hype. That's a game that people's jaws dropped when we saw the game footage for that. So if that doesn't live up to the hype, I'll be extremely disappointed. You're going to have Project Morpheus is going to be there, Resident Evil Revelations 2, simply loads. So it's kicking off on the 18th, going on to the 21st, and yeah, check it out, because it's quite simply, you're going to see all the stuff that's going to literally carry you through console-wise well into next year.
Do you know what? I'm such an idiot, because I said you sneaked these last two in at the end, so I haven't had a chance to kind of read through it. I literally didn't read through it, and I thought the Tokyo Game Show was a game show.
What?
What, an actual quiz, game show?
Quiz show. Yeah. I was like,
welcome
Tokyo
to Tokyo
Game Show. What's that about? And I'm like, oh, it's a convention. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you sneak things into the show notes at the last minute.
Welcome to the most informative gaming podcast around.
Talking about a quiz show.
And to people listening at home, that actually does fit in, because I think people won't mind us saying, I won't mention names, but there was a possibility at some point that we could have been on a game show. There is a possibility we could have been on a game show. Could have been on.
Called the Geeky Game Show. But we're not.
We're not going to go.
We're not, no.
Through choice.
Well, mainly because you had to take the whole of August off.
Yes.
Which was never going to happen. But anyway, that's another matter.
But yes,
that would have been really fun, though. That would have been quite fun to be on a game show.
I'm trying to imagine the format, what it would be like. This thing you imagined. But what were you thinking of?
It must have been like Big Brother, because you literally had to be there unless you get knocked out, and then you had to go. So I was like, okay.
Oh, I see.
We could do our own game show. I think we should do an Epic Geeks game show. We should get everybody on, and then maybe at our year's anniversary in January, we should get everybody on and do some kind of game show.
Oh God, is that coming up?
Yes.
Oof.
Let's do that. That's it. That's it for the week. We're done.
Oh.
Done and dusted. Gaming news. Is there anything else anybody wants to bring up before we go?
Thank you for listening to Epic Game Show. Hi.
That would be how it would
Awesome.
how it would start as well. All right, I'm going to play some outro music then.
I'm speechless.
So thank you very much for listening to the Epic Geeks podcast, and thank you for those of you in the chat as well on Twitch. I've been Drakeass, and you've also been watching the lovely Sparky and the Thomas McIlroy, who still needs to come up with some kind of gamer tag, because calling you Tom.
have it. I spoke about this every week on Geeks of Azeroth, because it will go, you've been listening to Tali, Zool, and Tom. I've mentioned this endlessly. I've got to the stage where I've started to report someone on Twitter because they've got my gamer tag. It's Britza usually, BRITTZA. It's how I'm known on everything I play. But some girl in Montana had it 6 years ago posted one thing on Twitter, and I've literally had to go to Twitter and say, listen, this girl's not using this. I need this because I'm going to die otherwise.
You're going to take some poor girl's Twitter account away from her.
That she used once about 5 years ago.
Maybe she's got something big planned for it. Anyway, forget about that. A big thank you for Edward Bryant, the musician responsible for our intro music. He can be found at Andoran_ on Twitter. And also to Coltrane for providing the voiceover for the intro to the podcast. He can be found at _Coltrane. Where can we find you, Sparky?
At Epic Dark Sparky.
And Tom?
At TC McElroy.
At TC McElroy. You can find me at Drakeass, and you can find Epic Geeks at Epic Geeks. You can also go along to our website, epicgeeks.co.uk, to find out more about this and other gaming podcasts that we do. And you can find us on Twitch and Hitbox. Just look for Epic Geeks. We have been the Epic Geeks. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Bye.
Goodbye.